Hello everybody, I hope you're doing fine. We're just back from Paris, the home textile shows, which happened to be very exciting this year with a lot of new influences and new trends we could see all over the showrooms. I would like to take a few minutes from you to introduce you to our collection, the 2018 collection from 4Spaces. We started last year introducing two knit constructions, Napoli and Capri, named after the beautiful islands in Italy. These two fabrics basically gave you already a little bit an idea of where the collection will go. We emphasized again on three-dimensionality, textures. We wanted to see the low and the high rise. We wanted to experience the interweaving of thicker threads this year. So Napoli was actually inspired by a very regular robe in cotton, ones we use for like the household every day, and also by a technique called macrame, which is an old European technique which found its way into a lot of like handcrafting as well. Macrame as a mix between knitting and knotting. So Napoli was then tried to be interpreted in the knitting technique. And if I come a little bit closer to the camera, you can see how beautiful actually that was converted. And of course, you know that all our knits are made out of Trevere CS, so that was actually the next challenge, to take the rope, which would absolutely not hold up in our use, and to convert it with a yarn. And we were very excited that Trevere CS collaborated with us to actually try to produce a new yarn. It's called papyrus, like paper yarn, and it has the same natural touch like the cotton, but has all the characteristics of this modern fiber Trevere CS. In addition to Napoli, we created Capri. Capri is, of course, a little bit more a dense weave. Drapes equally beautiful, and if I come a little bit closer, you see here the three-dimensionality and the stacking of the different heights. Capri has, as usual, of all the knit techniques in our collection, the light and glaring characteristics, which means it holds back the light and the sunlight and the glaring, so you can actually work on a computer behind a sheet of a layer of Capri, which is an excellent attribute. Here, Napoli. Then we continued to be inspired by the medieval costumes with this beautiful color work. Perhaps you remember it from the paintings, I would say about 1600. Some Victorian paintings, Victorian fashion showed these fabrics, which were like very elaborated around the necks and as accessories on collars. And it was always very fascinating to see if we can convert that into a fabric, and we achieved it with this knit construction called Samira. Samira has, of course, a fantastic fall as well, very, very elegant. And here you see extremely beautiful, the super nice, fine metal construction, and then a thick yarn layer on top of it as an overlayer. Samira comes in various colors, accompanied by a lighter collection called Nilu. Nilu is now really like a mesh. See it here, drapes beautifully. And the construction is also kind of very, very subtle and beautiful. And then we have, as the last one, Ferial, which is the heaviest in all, and brings the yarn really to its characteristics. It's a metallic yarn, equally made out of Trevir CS. Drapes fantastically nice and has a very subtle construction. And Ferial is also upholstery suitable, so it means you can actually use it for contract use because of its Trevir CS, and it reaches about 40,000 martingale. The collection is sampled as following. We have Capri Napoli on a hanger. On the back, as usual, all the technical information. We have then Samira on one hanger, small shawl, technical information in the back. Here we see the subtle colors. It's a typical 4Spaces coloration, which concentrates on creating the most beautiful neutral colors. So we have warm grays, cold grays, darker grays, going beautiful with the interiors, which are interior colors, which are fashion in these days. And then we combined Ferial and Nilu, the lightest and the heaviest, on one hanger. In those colors here, Ferial with a beautiful cinnamon orange. This is this new shade of metal blue, and then the gray shades for the sheers. I want to continue with the wool collection. I will just pull that over here. The inspiration in full, introducing a quality called woolish. It's a bit of a word game because it is completely behaving like a wool, beautiful full, beautiful hand, beautiful texture, but it's not. It's actually 100% Trevir CS, so that's why we call it woolish. Woolish comes in about 6 colors. No, more actually. See it here. Again, we concentrate on the neutral. We added some darker colors, and then we stay in the light tones here. Woolish is extremely well priced as well. Perhaps I show it to you a little bit in these different colors. This is this new kind of green we see coming up in interiors in Europe. It's light gray, has a beautiful texture. And then, of course, with natural yarns, loving as much as the synthetics, we were thinking about introducing a wool collection. Another part of the collection, 2018, was partially introduced at the very end of the year already. It was the whole theme of wool and working wool with different fibers. We came across a yarn which we're very interested in Trevir CS again, which had the characteristics of wool. And we started to weave it, and we're really, really impressed how this yarn reads just like a wool fabric. It's a fantastic touch, it has a beautiful fold, it just reads like a wool. Gabardine has this kind of roughness, but then a soft touch onto it, just like wool. And we decided to actually pursue also this fabric called woolish and introduce it in those colors here. The fantastic thing about woolish is you have an excellent price as well because it's Trevir CS, it's contract use, but also high-end residential. Trevir can be used partially also outdoor, so ask our offices and customer service agents how far out you can use Trevir CS. The width is 129 inches wide, 330 centimeters. So it's really a perfect fabric for contract and high-end residential. Also, like for hotels which are just looking for a nice touch, and a nice feeling of a fabric. We added here this new green kind of color. It's a greenish color, which we see coming up in the interiors. Then we have the neutral palettes with like also introducing a beautiful dark gray. In the wool family, we could not resist to also add not only wool fabrics, but starting to play around with wool and linen. Linen has a beautiful texture and the optical, the staple construction, which always adds a beautiful natural touch to a fabric. So here we have Melbourne, again in 131 inches or 335 centimeters width. Super nice fold, super nice hand. And if you show it, try to show it against a light so that you can actually see the transparency and the texture in this fabric. Wool is an excellent fabric to filter sunlight. It helps you also to, this is in a different color, in the white one. It helps you also to acoustically absorb or balance out the room, because wool has a very natural characteristics of doing that, and it absorbs also humidity and balances out humidity levels in rooms. What happens with the linen construction here is that it becomes just a little bit more optically interesting with that staple yarn running in it, but not as stiff as a linen curtain. This is really beautiful in a transparency. You have this transparency. I'm not sure if you can actually see that happening. It's almost like a gaze or a gauze. And here we then played with the same linen and wool construction, but in a different weave, perth, almost like a little bit of a crepe weave. Beautiful hand also, very soft. Perth comes in two colors, here in white. These fabrics you really have to show, drape them over the table, give them into the hands of the designers and your clients so that they really can feel the touch. Interesting about this collection is the double width, which is of course always a big asset. 100% wool is then Sydney. Again, 330 centimeters, 130 inches wide. Sydney is now 100% wool and just does the same thing like woolish, except that it's 100% wool. The wool collection is sampled out on one hanger. You have one sample of each quality as a shawl. As always, the complete technical information in the back of the card, and then the color range, which is mixing all the qualities through. And you see it's a beautiful, beautiful series of, again, neutral colors going to the dark colors with this black, which is absolutely exquisite construction and color. Then I would like to point out this quality marble. Marble has been worked on for almost a year. It's a very complex jacquard construction in a satin weave. It is double width and has a very big repeat so that you don't see any kind of like designs patched together. The difficulty with this design was that we had to make sure that we don't see any kind of funny faces, shadows, anything which could make this fabric a problem for like people when they look at it, if you use it as a wall covering, for example, or as a drapery, or as an upholstered ceiling, that you start to see any funny things. So we had to work it basically in black and white at the beginning, and we had to weave and weave and weave, and every single time we saw more and more little ghosts appearing, and it took us almost, as I said, a year to make this fabric really into this beautiful design of marble. The interesting thing is also that you can turn it around. It's double-sided, so if you turn it around, you either show the side where you have a little bit more weft, or the side where you actually show a little bit more warp, and then it means you show a little bit more the satin weave. It's lighter and it's sleeker. Marble is woven in 100% Trevira CS and comes in those 4 colors. Its application is thought for draperies, upholsteries, wall upholstered panels, and has also an abrasion of about 15,000 martingale, so it would be light residential use. The last part of the collection is, as you know, our story to start with a basic quality, like we did it with Plastic Fantastic or with raffia. This is the plain raffia weave we introduced last year. And then we try to see how we can work with those basic qualities to create more fabrics on top. We are completely happy about this quality. It's a beautiful quality. It has been used for upholstered walls, acoustical walls. We had, for a custom, printed some beautiful Chinese images on it in black and white, and it just turned out really beautiful. And we started also then to see what we could create using the same grand weave, and we went into a very old technique called fil coupé, cut thread. So these loose threads during the weaving then are clipped back. Here we have boho, a beautiful patchwork. They used it in the show in Paris as lampshades, and it just turned out to be really, really beautiful. And boho is a very nice curtain drapery, enabling a very nice privacy effect, but then also a see-through effect where you have a little bit patches where are a little bit more transparent. You can use it also for upholstered wall. That was actually also the intention once for the Fendi shops to use this one as upholstered wall to imitate raffia panelings. And we are still working on it, but we thought this is a nice addition to our collection. Raffia as a theme with this collection as well. Perhaps I come a little bit closer here that you see the herringbone weave. Of course, here we don't use a real raffia, neither do we use it in boho. Raffia is a highly problematic yarn if you use it in natural consistency, so we converted the raffia into a polyester. Here again you see the nice fil coupé technique to enable UV results, perfect results in front of the window, and as an upholstery as well. So the raffia is a polyester raffia, but here we keep using this beautiful cotton warp, and the cotton warp then leaves this beautiful touch. It has these hands to be a real grass cloth kind of raffia fabric. It's a beautiful hand. It's thought for upholstery or for upholstered walls, of course, equally suitable. And we have, after weaving, backed the fabric with a net, which enables the fabric now to be much more stable. the hanger where we show the Hamptons. That's the name of the collection, with Montauk and Noyak as the two featured fabrics. We added here a beautiful palette of our cork fabric for upholstery, denim as this canvas, stone washed canvas, which goes beautifully within the collection. Here, Montauk and Noyak in two more colors, cork, brat, and two more colors, denim, new book, this ultra super suede from ours, which is like easy cleanable. And then here, the two dark colors with denim and brat cork. This is a beautiful upholstery collection. Can go outside as well, not perhaps into the full rain, but the color UV results are very good for all these fabrics. And the martingales are about 60,000 with Noyak and Montauk, so it's perfectly also for contract use. I hope you enjoyed the collection and you will carry out our work and our enthusiasm to your clients. I will be seeing you shortly when I will be traveling to your territories. I wish you good luck and thank you very much.